This is DearMamaSal, and welcome to tonight's broadcast. Tonight, we are actually going to be talking about how to brighten up your day. The reason I chose this topic is that I noticed that a lot of people suddenly are feeling stressed, overwhelmed, depressed. It's the change of season. I understand that. And so I thought what I'd do is to give everybody some handy hints about how to keep control of your emotions and how to brighten up your days. Before we do that, I just wanted to make sure that for anybody who's watching for the first time or anybody watching on the replay that doesn't know how we do this, we normally spend a few minutes at the front end just updating people on news, various things that our viewers are doing. We're like an extended family, so we like to make sure that we keep everybody as up to date as we can within reason and with permission. And so you're going to see at the notes underneath here, it'll probably say from 00 to such and such a time, news, views, and updates. And then from this time onwards, the topic of today. And today's topic is going to be, as I said, how to brighten up your life. The main thing that I wanted to talk about, and I made a brief mention of it at lunchtime as well, is the caravan of people who are coming in from Honduras, trying to travel through Mexico and get to the States. It's terrifying. I cannot imagine being one of those people, and you're fleeing from a way of life that is impossible for you, and now you've got all this going on. And don't get me wrong, I know that bringing in thousands of people, asylum seekers, is a huge expense. And where do you put them? And how do you feed them? And how do you look after them medically? I totally understand all the problems with it. My question as a human being is, what do we do? And that's what I keep asking myself. What do we do? I know all the things that people don't want to do, but what can we do? And the same problem that we had with people fleeing from the Middle East. Hi, Jody. A couple of years ago. When people are prepared to risk their lives to get to freedom, I think we have to be aware of that. And I also totally understand the other side of it, which is, hey, I had to do X, Y, and Z to get into the States or to get into Canada or wherever. Why doesn't everybody else has to do the same thing? And, I totally get both sides of that story. What I am concerned about is that when not enough of us are coming up with solutions. And, maybe people have got to adopt a family. I'm not sure what the story is. Hi, Beth. Good to see you. And so I just don't have the answers. Beth, while I think about it, Beth, if Charles has got an instant answer for why USB port suddenly doesn't work, I'd really like to know if there's a quick fix to that. Because for some reason, my one USB port just doesn't want to work anymore with my hub. It's the hub where I put everything else in, and I'm going, yeah, really. And I thought, wait, hi there, Erin, good to see you. So in terms of birthdays, we have got one coming up, I believe. Just let me get that in front of me. I had it up earlier and then, of course, closed that window, which is very dangerous for me. It does help if both of my brain cells are working in the same direction at the same time, but apparently they weren't in rotation this morning. All right, so Jamie has got a birthday on the 24th, if I'm correct, right? And then we've got, of course, Kerry's later in the month. By the way, for those of you who are friends with Kerry, she could do with some support at the moment. She was in at lunchtime, and one of the things that I noticed was that she's been much quieter than usual, which is unusual behavior. So when you see unusual behavior from people, then you go, okay, there's something going on there. Whether they choose to share it or not is up to them. But I always query it. If I notice there's unusual behavior, if somebody who's normally quite chatty suddenly isn't, that's unusual behavior. If somebody who's normally very high functioning suddenly isn't, that's unusual behavior. So the chances are there's something going on, and they probably could do with some support. So I called that one on Kerry today, and sure enough, she could do with some support. So if any of you are available, Erin, I wanted to know, on a scale of 1 to 10, you got some medical news that you probably didn't want to get recently. And I was wondering how you're coping with that on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being I'm absolutely wonderful with it, and 0 being I am not coping with it at all. So just give us a number there. I thought that might make it easier for you. But we wish you all the best in your new journey to find out how to cope with this. Yeah, Erin, I had a feeling you'd probably pick up on the Kerry thing. Thank you so much, honey. I appreciate that. And you know something? Please do that with your friends, right? Which is, if you notice an unusual behavior, if they withdraw for more than usual, then we all withdraw a little bit every now and then, just coping with our day to day. But when it's a little bit more than usual or longer than usual, then just check in and see what's going on. Jody told us at lunchtime that she's doing a lot better, and if you didn't know, not only did Jody end up with some problems, but then Lionel put his back out, and Lionel is Jody's caregiver. So you can imagine they were in a tremendous funk, and I got permission to tell this story. So, and talk about, do any of you believe that sometimes you just need to ask for what you want and it arrives? Have any of you noticed that? And sometimes we just don't bother to ask. And it was so funny because suddenly they were almost landlocked, is what I call it, because they needed they needed food, and they couldn't get out. And then Jody found the means to get Lionel an Uber so he could go grocery shopping when his back was a little bit better. But they were still struggling with, like, how do we do this? How do we get fresh meat? And somebody sent them a box of meat and goodies. And it was just like, wow. And isn't it magical that today, we can order these things online and have them sent to anybody, and they're probably going to be there within 24 hours. It's amazing to me. I just love our technology today and what is possible to do. So if ever you know of somebody who's got a problem, as Jody and Lionel had, just literally go to a site, order up some special stuff for them, that whatever you can afford, and send it. And it was really strange because it came from a place that I think Jody did not expect at all. Somebody that she really didn't expect to do that did it for her. So it was a wonderful gift for the week. The other thing was, and I think it's worth mentioning because it's about what happens when you get the right vibes going. Jody heard on the weather forecast that the snows were due snow is due in New Hampshire. And so, her mind immediately went to the fact she didn't have a winter coat that would keep her warm. But the other part of it was her logic told her, but I also don't have the money to buy a good winter coat that's going to keep me warm. And then the most amazing thing was that while she was thinking about that, she was Googling online, which she's very good at, and she found an absolutely great coat. That was like, how much percent off was it, Jody? It was like 25% or 30% off, and it was just like a perfect coat for her. On the other hand, I have my version of this, and I don't know if any of you have had this happen this week, but 50% off. There you are. I was trying to go on the lighter scale because I had a feeling it might be a bit more. Yes. So she got the coat for 50% off. The thing that happened to me was, some of you know, I have a CPAP machine, which covers my nose at night and forces air into my system so that hi there, Nana, so that I can continue to breathe, which is a really good idea at night. And so my CPAP machine, I'm realizing that we're getting into winter. The chances of more and more bugs coming are really important. And so, yes, Beth's saying that don't forget about Walmart shopping. They deliver to your door. Not only that, I have Save On Foods here in Canada that also deliver to your door. And so, so Jody, for the next time, remember Walmart. They will deliver to you. It's just like, you don't need to send Lionel, just get them to deliver. And I want to tell you, it's worth the $5 or $10 they'll put on the price, because what you spend on the $10 you will save by not impulse buying. So you have to pick it up. Oh, okay. Well, then go for. Do you have Save On? There's so many people that do home delivery now, Jody, and I would put that high on your list of research for this week. Anyway, what I was talking about was my CPAP machine. Other than Jody and myself, do any of you have a CPAP machine that helps you breathe at night? And the reason I'm mentioning that is because Jody and I had been discussing that we both wanted to get a cleaner for our machines because of the chances of infection and so forth from the actual pipes and everything. And you can clean them once a week, which I've been doing with vinegar and water. It's a very messy thing to do, and it's a pain and everything else. And so what I did was I put it out to the universe. What I would really like is I would like one of these machines that does what that good one does, that costs 300 and something bucks. But I don't want to pay more than $100 for it. That's what I kept saying. Somewhere between 50 and 100, I would be prepared to spend, but I'm not spending 300. For that, I'd rather do it the hard way. Anyway, I kept saying that, and and being me, I kept looking online and I found it. It's the most magical little thing. What it does is you actually charge it up. You throw all your CPAP equipment into just a plastic container, which you buy yourself. You just throw everything in there, and you throw in this special thing that charges itself, and it ionizes. I think it's ions, right? It ionizes the whole system within the confined space every day. So every day you've got a totally clean CPAP machine if you want it, or all the stuff. Hi, Nyasha, good to see you. So, and guess what? How much did I say it was, Jody? I think it was about 50, but by the time I paid for shipping and everything else, it ended up being about $80. But it's not 300 and something. Yay. And I would like to recommend, a lot of times maybe picking it up secondhand isn't a bad idea. So yeah, 62 was it? Well, I paid extra for shipping because I'm geographically challenged here in Canada, and there was something else I had to pay. Oh, taxes I had to pay on it. So it ended up being about $80 for me, Canadian. But hey, yeah, the tedium will be over. It's not yet, but it will be. Yes, I want to tell you something that it's really important to do the sleep study. Did you ever get a Fitbit watch? Because my Fitbit actually tells me how many times a night I wake up and those sort of things. And so even if he doesn't want to do, the other thing is, you can buy a chin strap that will help. It'll stop his mouth dropping open so he can't snore. And has anybody tried that one you put in your nose? I would recommend, if I had a husband who snored, here are some options. Choose one or sleep on the couch. Your choice. It's like, because I need my sleep. And Beth, you do enough work for 2.5 people. You need your sleep. Yeah, you definitely deserve to sleep in peace. So does anybody else have any news that we need to update people on just before we get on to the main part of this? And is anybody else feeling the change in the season? And the reason I'm doing this particular broadcast was because I noticed suddenly that I was getting a lot of my viewers who know me quite well actually writing to me directly. And they are feeling really challenged with negative thinking and stress and so forth. And I think a lot of it has to do with the change of season. Okay, so Nana's saying that she's really enjoying her Instapot. And that's an awesome thing, I know. I've heard a lot of people talk very well of that. It's like a pressure cooker, isn't it, Nana? In my day, it was just a pressure cooker, but they've sort of updated it now, I think. It's like the modern pressure cooker. I think that's what it is anyway. Does anybody have one other than Nana? But it does every kind of cooking. Okay. So what is the favorite thing that you've made with it? And Rick loves to use it. That's a good thing. I would think that would be a great thing for me to look at when I move. Okay, it's a rice cooker. What else does it do? It's like all the different uses. A slow cooker makes soups. Okay, it's like I found 1,001 things to do with my rice cooker. My rice cooker can also be a quick frying pan when I'm just quickly doing something. It's like it does 1,001 things if you want it to. It's my slow cooker for one. So she's saying it does yogurt, multigrains. Yes, and it's just like how many things. And it's fun experimenting, isn't it, Nana? And to me, it sautés. Yes, that's right. So, to me, it's like any new gizmo. If you want to, actually, we should just start. It's 16:30, Jody, and let's talk about things that brighten up our lives. All right. I think that getting a new gizmo, 9 times out of 10, how many of you found that getting a new gizmo that you can play with is a great way to start it brightening up your lives, because it makes you start cooking different things and so forth. So that's interesting. Do you find that that's interesting? You should use those words. Yes, Nana's saying that the Instapot roasts like an oven, not sloppy like a slow cooker. Now that's interesting. You mean the it doesn't fall apart like in a slow cooker? And it's the same thing that I found with the halogen, right? That the halogen would roast beautifully. But what I loved about that, can you cook from frozen? Because that's what I love with the halogen, is that you can cook from frozen. Right, Beth's asking me, friend or enabler? All right, because we're always looking at this. She bought her new granddaughter a coat because Victoria still didn't have one for her, and it's cold outside. All right, so you tell me, do you think that was being a friend or an enabler? Is it the responsibility of the mother and father to buy their daughter a coat? Or is it the grandmother's job? Right, so Nana's saying that the Instapot cooks from frozen in about 15 minutes. Yay, we love that. Yes, Erin, that's why I'm doing today's broadcast, because people are feeling the pressure. I think it is a pressure when we change a season. The pressure in our head changes, the whole world changes a little bit. And if you're sensitive, which a lot of us are, you will feel that inside and you'll wonder what's going on. So Erin's saying maybe that's why she feels the way. She literally woke up today and was so blah and she couldn't understand why. Well, welcome to autumn. I don't know about you, but I know it's not summer anymore. You know what I mean? I'm packing the summer stuff away. All right, so Jody had a little listen to what Beth was asking, and she thinks she was being a friend to her granddaughter, but an enabler to her daughter. Yes, so I would like to suggest, and think about this if you will, how much pleasure did you get? Did you actually buy the coat because it gave you pleasure? And I think that probably is what it was, because with all due respect, I've seen some of the blankies she's got. And any kid that is wrapped up in those blankies is not going to be cold. So I don't think you bought a coat because she needs one, because she spent her time wrapped up. So think about that, Beth. But I bet you it was pretty, wasn't it? But the good news is, Beth, the good news is that you're looking at it. What's an enabler? You've never heard the word before. Not a problem. Okay. So there's a difference between being a friend and being an enabler. Let's say that somebody has a problem and you keep trying to fix their problem for them. They're not fixing it. They expect you to fix it for them. That makes you an enabler, right? You are enabling their lack of self-doing. A friend trusts that you are smart enough to be able to do it yourself. You just probably need some few more options. Does that make sense, Nyasha? So let's say that you are late with your taxes. An enabler would probably get really upset and panic and go, oh my gosh, let me try and find somebody, and get really, they would end up in more stress than you're in. Whereas a friend would say, okay, fine. I know people that have had this happen. Here's some suggestions on what you can do. That's being a friend, is to give people options. An enabler is somebody that thinks they have to take responsibility for your problem. Does that make sense, Nyasha? All right, so Beth is now giving us some more information as well. She's saying, yes, it is her job, but she didn't prepare, and I don't want her cold when we go to doctor's visits. So I'm afraid she'll get sick. Seriously? Again, Beth, be honest now. Those blankies that I've seen, if she is wrapped up in there, the last thing she is going to be is cold. There's that one pink one that is so darn cute. There's part of me that really, and really keeps looking at that thing and going, I wish I'd made that. It's so pretty. Ah, all right. So Beth's saying, I bought it because we went to Walmart just now and she didn't have one, just a blanket on her. Well, again, no, she's a newborn, Nana. She's not sick. She's a newborn. And I don't think a newborn necessarily needs a coat, but that's just me. I'm going to leave it to the mothers. At what age did you get your baby's coats? Do you know what I mean? Was it at 2 weeks? So Beth, just look at it, all right? See what's happening. Yeah, Nyasha. So Nyasha, if you write to me at DearMamaSal@gmail.com, write to me and I will send you a little picture that you can put up, and it shows you what a friend does and it shows you what an enabler does. And it's a really good thing to have up, keep it somewhere like in your Bible or whatever you keep special things in, because every now and then it's worth looking at it. So Nana, as a mother, says, okay, Beth, you're right. Buy the coat. Okay, that's interesting. Pat, at what age do you buy your children coats as newborns? Yes, and there's the point that I wanted to make, Beth, all right? So every coat her other grandson has, Beth bought, because the mother knows that Beth will buy him one if he doesn't have one. You see, that's the enabler. It's 32 degrees out now. Absolutely. All right. So you were fearful. Right. You never bought your babies a coat. All right. So do you understand? It's a personal thing. To me, it's like when they are that small, aren't they bundled up all the time? I mean, that's, that when I see kids that small, They should only wear a sleeper and be packed with blankets. Yep. Okay, that's what my sense was, but what do I know? So I will leave it for you mothers. They definitely need a hat. Yes. Or a hood. Because we know that that's where yeah. Right. So just think about those sort of things, right? So, but the main thing is, Beth, 10 out of 10 for asking, all right? Because we've got a lot of grandmothers here. Beth is trying to learn what are the right things to do as a grandmother without being an enabler to her daughter. Watch car seat safety videos, Beth. That's what Pat says. So a good car seat is more important than a good coat. Is that what you're saying? At this age, when she's a baby. Well, at any age, let's be honest. So we're going to move right along. And first of all, welcome to everybody and thank you for being here. If you are new to the broadcast, a couple of things. There should be a bell down here somewhere. And if you click on that, it will tell you every time we're doing a live broadcast. The other thing is if you follow us on Facebook and Twitter, both under DearMamaSal. Hi there, Kerry. That's where I sort of do the updates where we need thoughts and prayers for people. And it's sort of like a message board for the different viewers. They let me know stuff and I will in turn say, do you want the rest of the peeps to know this? And if they say yes, then I will put it up on the notice board on Facebook. All right, so today we're going to talk about brightening up your life because we've got a change in season. And I think with the exception of about Lauren, most of you, maybe Nyasha, you're going into spring now or into fall? And we'll wait for that. I've got a feeling she's also going into spring. Right. So what I'm trying to do is to make sure that we come up with lots of good ideas for people, how to keep ourselves bright and light as we go into the shorter days. And, the tendency for sleep, what do you call it? Attention deficit disorder, not attention deficit. What's sad? Seasonal deficit disorder. This is a very important time to be looking at the fact that your chances of being more short-tempered, the chances of you feeling more depressed and whatever. Beth's saying she also bought the car seat. Yep. And yes, Nana's immediately saying vitamin D. This is part of what I was saying at lunchtime today, Nana. If you don't know it, one of the greatest things to cheer up your mood during these months is vitamin D. And we were talking at lunchtime. Beth told us something that I didn't know. Beth has MS, and she literally takes as much as 15,000 universal units of international units of vitamin D because MS uses up vitamin D. Yes, I use it all year as well, Nana. And Yasha says in her country, you're in India, right? Or Pakistan, I think. She says we have two seasons, right? Rainy and dry. Yeah, so you take 15,000 as well, Pat? So what I'm saying is that if you want to help yourself, I want to tell you when I started taking vitamin D regularly, and I also take it all year round, I just up it a bit in the winter. It actually stopped my situational depressions. It stopped a lot of things. Oh, yes, it's excellent for depression. And I'm you take 2,000 units. Yes, I take at least 1,000 in the summer, and then in the winter, I top it up. Yep. It's a good idea to talk to your doctor. I don't want to be a medical person here. Maybe discuss it with your doctor and see what your doctor recommends. But it was really a good point that I certainly didn't know that people with MS. Yeah, Nana takes 2,000 as well. All right, so there you go, people. You want to up your mood for the, during the winter months, autumn and winter months, up your vitamin D intake. How many of you live by the saying, stop worrying, if it's supposed to happen, it will? How many of you actually don't worry a whole lot about stuff? You just go, you know something, I'm going to do this way, and if it's meant to happen, it'll all fall into place. And yet some people will worry themselves sick over the same issue. Which are you? Are you a worry yourself sick over things, or do you just go, if it's meant to be, it will be? Niasha, why do I forget you're in Trinidad and Tobago? I've got to link that somehow in my mind. Okay, I've got to see you, Niasha, singing reggae. All right, so that's how I'm going to try and remember it. Yeah, it's right. Now, Nana's saying, she's making a global statement, but she's saying she doesn't worry a lot at her age. All right, and unless you want to share how old you are, Nana, but that isn't for all people. I've met people of all different ages that worry. They're worriers, and then there are people that just go, if it's meant to be, yes. Jodi's saying, but my anxiety sometimes gets to me. Yeah, and that's what we were talking about at lunchtime. That if you let the anxiety get to you, all right, then you will slow down. I was saying at lunchtime, emotions will slow you down. And by the way, anxiety is an emotion. Anxiety will slow you down. Action will move you forward. No, Niasha, one day I will get it right and I'll be so proud of myself. And then I probably will remember it from that point onwards, but I can't guarantee it. Yes, so what you're saying, Jodi, is most of the time you don't worry too much. Yeah, so right, and Niasha's a worrier, all right? So she hasn't learned the don't worry thing. So Niasha, if I might say so, don't worry, be happy came from your neck of the woods, as far as I remember. Right? And so the whole point is, if you want to brighten up your day, don't spend as much time thinking about the bad stuff. And we were talking about that at lunchtime. And what we're going to do today is talk about, what do you do instead, right? Because you've got a choice every day. I can sit here and worry myself sick about stuff, or I can do something different. And so what I wanted to know is, what do you do to brighten yourself up when you're feeling a bit depressed? All right, Beth, you see, is a fixer. Right? Well, Beth is the fixer, right? She says, I don't worry, I just try to fix it. Now, that also, as long as you're fixing your own stuff, not other people's. So that is a wonderful way to be, right? So worrying about it has never fixed anything, right? Doing something fixes it. Would you agree? Yes, Kerry, I'm sure you're excited because that's your birthday. And then Nana's is the next day, I think. So the point that I'm trying to make is, I don't think, I could be wrong, but I don't think that it has to do with age. I believe it has to do with a mentality. Some people naturally worry a great deal, and they haven't learnt the skills not to do that as much. So, it's the day after the day after. Okay, Nana, I knew it was at the beginning of the month. That's interesting. Beth says anxiety is her fault. I must have done something wrong, so I have to fix it. No, that is not true. You fix far too many things for far too many people. That makes you an enabler. And I'm definitely going to keep reminding you, Beth, but that's okay. Yes. So it's interesting. Erin says, I worry about other people, um, but with myself, if it's meant to be, it will be. Isn't that interesting? So you don't trust other people's outcomes to be okay. Well, you know something, Nyasha, that's called life. Nyasha's saying, for those of you who are watching on the replay, she said, yes, I'm in a better mood now, but soon again, I will be sad again. I don't know why, but it happens. That's life. Life has ups and downs. Now, if your ups and downs are very big, you might want to have that checked out because, if you have very high highs and very low lows, that may be an issue that you may want to check out with a medical person. But the whole thing is we have the ability to make life brighter. And that's what I want to say, that we are responsible for making our lives brighter. We can't wait for other people to do it for us. That would be asking them to enable us. We need to be able to take responsibility, and it's our job, right, to make ourselves happier. So number one thing is limit the amount you're going to worry. I liked what Linda said at lunchtime. Linda from the UK said at lunchtime that she allows people to vent for no more than 10 minutes. I thought that was really cute. And so you might give yourself a limit and say, okay, I'm allowed to worry, but not for more than 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, I have to get up and do something. Right. And that would be a really healthy thing to do for yourself. And then I need to go and do something. And, an hour later, if I need another 10 minutes of worry, then I'll do it. But then I need to get up and go and stop worrying, because worrying doesn't get me anywhere. It slows me down. Now, the other thing that brightens up your day, and I really love this idea. How many of you agree that one of the things that brightens up your day is when you don't have to be perfect at everything? You're allowed to be a beginner. I am amazed how many people say, well, I tried this and I wasn't good at it, so I stopped. And then, there was a wonderful quote that we gave in the lunchtime broadcast, and it came from Van Gogh. And he said, if you think you're a bad painter, you need to start painting and keep painting. Because if you start painting and keep painting, you won't be a bad painter very long. Yes, if you've got Nana, I quite agree with you. If a family member is really sick, it may cause more worry. Absolutely. If you've got, we've got 2 babies born into the DearMamaSal family this week, and it was interesting, we're bound to worry about, there's great excitement about a birth, but there's also, some natural worry. Will everybody be okay? The other, so to me that is totally understandable. You know, I've got more worries coming in because of what I'm trying to do. So it's also okay to be sad. Yes, I absolutely agree with that. I'm not saying don't worry or don't be sad or don't be, feel whatever you need to feel. But what I'm saying is don't dwell in it. Don't get sucked into it and stay in depression with it. If you can help it. And what I want to do is to give you some ideas of things you can do. Obviously, asking for help is a great idea. And we were talking a lot about that at lunchtime. And how many of you agree that allowing yourself the freedom? I was thinking about Nana and her Instapot. I am certain that it was a whole new learning curve on how to cook, or it was for Rick. And it's like, allow yourself the room to mess up a couple of meals. That's quite normal. Don't expect perfection. Just enjoy what you can do with it. And I think the experimentation is always a fun thing. I can remember the hysterical time I had when I first got my soda stream. And for those of you who got a soda stream, I accidentally put the the syrup in before I screwed in that bottle and put the compressed air into it. And I ended up with stuff all over my laundry room, but it was good fun. Yes, and Kerry's also saying, I'm okay if I get sad, but when I stay sad for more than a little bit, then I worry and I need to pick myself up by the bootstraps. Yes, that's exactly the point that I'm making. And I think you all know well enough that, to have an emotion is fine. It's dwelling in the emotion that slows you down. And it's our responsibility to do what we can to help ourselves. And if we can't do it for ourselves, then we may need to get help. I like this quote, and it said, don't let your happiness depend on anything outside yourself. All right? Don't let your happiness depend on anything outside yourself. Now, that doesn't mean you shouldn't get joy because you just got a new baby into the family. Right? That's not what it's saying, but it's saying don't depend on others to bring you happiness. Make your own happiness. Yeah, Kerry's saying, I used to dwell in emotions, and I don't do it as much now. Yes, and that's why I showed you that graphic last week about, if you start with a negative, you're going to continue with the negative, and everything that happens, you're going to have negative emotion, negative physical, and then you're also going to have negative behaviors. Yeah. So that's why I'm saying limit the amount that you dwell in your emotions. And I had a great quote that I was talking about at lunchtime, which was, is this an emotion or is it a fact? Right? Is what you're worrying about an emotion or is it a fact? So obviously, if you have a family member who's going in for a triple bypass, you have reason to be concerned. Right? That's not an emotion, that's a fact. Right? But if you're going, well, what if this happens and if that happens? The what if monster is emotional. It's not factual. So, that if it happens, then you'll have time to worry about it. But right now, there's no point in worrying about that because we don't know what's going to happen. Only God knows that, right? Now, I thought this was a good quote as well, all right, which is stay close to everything that makes you feel alive. Let me ask you all, what is it that makes you feel alive? Yeah, Nyasha's saying, I like learning new things like technology, but my health prevents it. But I'm still going to keep pushing forward. Yes, Nyasha, did you get a chance to check out that the free library, International Library? Yes, Pat says life. I've got a feeling, Pat. Did you get my email, Pat, with the RV idea? I thought that was so clever because I know you've got a dirty great trailer. And it was saying that if you've got a very long trailer, put reflective strips down the side of it so that I don't know why. I wonder if Bill's probably already done it, but I have to make sure that that it's because I thought it was a great idea. Yeah, well, tell him I was literally, I took one look at that trailer and I saw the bunk windows and I went, I know people who've got that trailer, or one very like it. And I know it's 39 feet. So they probably need those strips if they haven't done it. The other thing is that they were talking about, I thought it was a great idea as well. I hope you didn't mind that I passed it on, but I just immediately thought of you guys and thought, I got to share this. But they're also saying down the vertical of the end of it, make sure you got something reflective there, like one strip that goes down or something. Oh, okay. So Kerry's saying she can't stay long because her phone is about to die. All right. The good idea to charge up the phone before we do a broadcast, Kerry. But yes, thank you for being here. How do I have peace about this move? It's difficult, Nana. A couple of things need to happen. What I realized was I definitely have a couple of things that I have to get organized. I'm off to go and see the thing again tomorrow and probably, do the deal. the worry that I have is that the market is slowing. And what if my house, I probably will have my house closer to being on the market probably now by the end of December, probably mid-December to end, depending on how long it takes to do the tidying up outside. But I'm getting pretty close inside now. And, oh, you're not at home. You don't carry a charger with you, Kerry? That's interesting. Yeah, I go everywhere with a plug-in charger. It's like, cell phone charger. And I also carry a spare battery pack for my phone. Just an idea. They're not expensive. So you can just literally plug it in. Yeah, you can read online. Absolutely, Nyasha. Nyasha wanted to study some stuff, and I suggested that she actually do it online because they're online libraries. And you just literally sign in, and it allows you to, download a book and read it or do whatever. Just to have a look. There are lots of different ones, Nyasha. What I wanted to show you is the magic of the internet today and how much of it is available for free. And basically, you just literally sign up. And if you sign up, then they let you, read the books. Some of them have a time span, but then all you do is you sign it up for another 2 weeks or something. All right. Nana, you were saying, do I think I have peace of mind? If it's the right thing, yes. Do I think you have peace of mind if it's the right thing? Yes. I'm actually keep saying that if this is the right thing to do, even though I have taken longer than I thought to downsize, I still think everything will fall into place. And if it doesn't, I'll deal with it. Yes, Nyasha, you never knew that there were libraries online. You see, that's part of what I think life is about, all right? That we share information. I didn't know that somebody with MS uses up 15,000 international units of of vitamin D. You learn something every day. Okay, so big hugs to you, Kerry. Now, the next thing, all right, so what makes you feel alive? All right, Pat, I wanted to say that I've got a feeling that camping makes you feel alive from what I can hear of it. I know that doing quilting makes you feel alive. So let's hear from everybody else. Nana, what makes you feel alive? And Jamie, if you're still with us, what makes you feel alive? Nyasha, what makes you feel alive? Yes, Nana, I did see your haircut. It looks very cute from the back. I have no idea what it looks like from the front. Yeah, so Pat's saying, yep, and her sewing, all right, makes her feel alive. It's creative, it gets her juices going. And yet, the funny thing is, Pat, that sewing and quilting and stuff that comes with its own set of problems, yet the overall effect is one of glad, right? And of achievement and of happiness. Yes, Nana's saying her faith keeps her alive and her family. She's lucky enough to have a very, very, close family. And so that makes her feel alive, and her art makes her feel alive. She says that the pain she has overcome. Do you mean physical pain or emotional? Jody as well says tapping into her creative side, cooking, drawing, doing stuff like that makes her feel alive. All right. And Beth says happiness for her is to stop being friends with people who make you feel like you have to earn their time. Yes. Save that energy for people who treat you like they matter. Yes. And that is one of the things. Surround yourself with people who see your greatness. It was really interesting at the lunchtime broadcast, for those of you who weren't there. I was talking about my art, and I was saying how much I still love that piece of artwork up there, for those of you who remember when I did that. And I still love the coffee one on the left there. I think it's on your left, maybe it's on your right. I still look at that, and I was talking about it, and I really struggled because I said, I guess every now and then I'd have to admit maybe I have some, and I choked up because I couldn't say the next word, and the next word was talent. And it was really funny how my body language changed and how I struggled with that word. It's like I didn't want to say that I had any talent at doing this. But it yeah, it was funny, wasn't it, Jody? It was like it was sitting at the back of my tongue, but I wouldn't let it crawl over my tongue and come out. Nyasha loves gardening, swimming, but her health always gets in the way. Okay, so what can you do even though your health gets in the way? All right. So it's like Erin. Erin, quite honestly, is one of the happiest people I know, considering what she deals with on a daily basis. It's just amazing um, what a happy person she can create in herself. And she is so thankful for the little things. It's really, really amazing. So one of the things that they recommend is make peace with your past. If you want to be a happier person, if you want to have, a happier life, make peace with your past. Whatever it is from your past that is still hounding you, do what you can to work through it, preferably with somebody who knows what they're doing. Because otherwise it will just continue to haunt you. Now, some of it will stay, we know that. Nyasha, don't ever be sorry to mention your health issues. I think it's really important. Now, I know I believe you've got some eye issues and something else I think you've mentioned. So if you want to share that with people so they can understand, it might help them when they're thinking about possibilities for you. So they can get an idea of what you're capable of doing and what. Did you know that Jody has major life issues, health issues, or that there are all sorts of people who are regulars here who have huge health issues. Beth has MS. So you're not alone in having health issues. And we've got some. Erin has, I think, use of one hand and her neck, basically. The rest she has major problems with. But it's amazing what she gets done with that. It's just, it just blows me away. So it's not a case of what you can't do. It's concentrate on what you can. That's one of the things that I always say to people. See all your setbacks as growth areas. All right. This didn't go the way I wanted it to, but what did I learn? Some of you have heard me quote Desiderata. And I just want to get it up again because I think it's really important. Hang on, let me just find it. Because if you have a tendency to get down on yourself, then it is a really good thing to have up on a wall, especially during the winter. Desiderata says the following: go placidly. And by the way, I can't see the screen where your comments are coming in, and I'll check them when I finish this. Go placidly amid the noise and haste, and remember what peace there may be in silence. As far as possible, and without surrender, be on good terms with all persons. Speak your truth quietly and clearly, and listen to others. Even the dull and the ignorant, they too have their story. Avoid loud and aggressive persons, for they are vexations to the spirit. If you compare yourself with others, you may become vain and bitter. For always there will be greater and lesser persons than yourself. Enjoy your achievements as well as your plans. Keep interested in your own career, however humble. It's a real possession in the changing fortunes of time. Exercise caution in your business affairs, for the world is full of trickery. But let this not blind you to what virtue there is. Many persons strive for high ideals, and everywhere life is full of heroism. Be yourself, especially do not feign affection. Neither be cynical about love, for in the face of all aridity and disenchantment, it is perennial as the grass. Take kindly the counsel of years, gracefully surrendering the things of youth. I'm not good at that. Nurture strength of spirit to shield you in sudden misfortune, but do not distress yourself with dark imaginings. Many fears are born from fatigue and loneliness. Beyond a wholesome discipline, be gentle with yourself. You are a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars. You have a right to be here. And whether or not it is clear to you, no doubt the universe is unfolding as it should. Therefore, be at peace with God, whatever you perceive him to be. And whatever your labors or aspirations in the noisy confusion of life, keep peace with your soul. For with all its sham, drudgery, and broken dreams, it is still a beautiful world. Be cheerful, strive to be happy. That is such a beautiful thing. Now I'm going to read your comments. Let me just see here. All right. So what percentage? I'm just seeing Nyasha's. Okay, Jody. I'm just seeing Nyasha's comments about her eyes. What percentage of vision do you have? You had that played at your graduation. Yes, it's wonderful. I look it up. By the way, listen to it on YouTube because they have it with great music behind it and everything, and it's very moving. And I try to make sure that I read it to myself at least a couple of times a year, because I get so caught up in all the busy stuff, and I forget that I just need to do what I need to do, and not worry about everybody else and stuff. Yeah, you read it often as well. Yeah, it's a wonderful piece, and that brings me life. I love it when I read that. It settles me down. So I was just wondering, Nyasha, it's interesting. One of the questions I always ask myself, and I know this might sound strange, so much of what I do is dependent on my ability to see, create, do whatever, talk. I ask myself on a regular basis, how would I live my life if I lost my sight? How would I live my life if I lost my hearing, which I basically just about done? How would I live my life if I lost my speech? Would I still be able to help people? And you see, I've asked myself those questions all the time, and I've asked myself those questions since my 20s, because I don't want any of those things to be a surprise to me. I want to know that I would find a different way. And, I actually think about those things. Do any of you do that? I don't want to have that surprise where suddenly they say, well, we're sorry, Sal, you can't talk anymore. You just lost your voice and it's not coming back. I already know what I would do, right, if that happens, in terms of still hopefully being able to help people. And I guess it would be fair to say that for me, helping people gives me life as well. When I say helping people, I mean, trying to find ways of explaining things to people that make a bit more sense. This one I think is a great one. Don't ever give up. It doesn't matter what you're losing. It doesn't matter how much stress there is. Please don't give up. Oh, you are extremely nearsighted. Okay. So you have to hold things up really close so that you can see them. What happens if you have a magnifying glass in front of you? Because does that help you? And I say that because I'm pretty sure they've come up with ways that you don't have to hold everything up really, really close. And here's the other thing, Nyasha. You do know that you can get a lot of books in large print, all right? And the joy of having it, on the internet is you can increase the size of the print. Do you know how to do that on your computer? Or do you have a computer, or do you only have a phone? One of the first things I do when I get a new computer or a new phone is I set the size of the type bigger, because my eyes are not as good as they were. By the way, I found that my ears not being as good as they were was also causing me a problem. So I bought an external speaker for my tablet because the volume on my tablet is very bad. So I've bought an external speaker so that when I do anything on my tablet, the speaker is, compensating for that lack of volume. You see, Nyasha, what makes you happy is that you find solutions to these perceived problems. So you keep mentioning what holds you up, and we'll keep coming up with ideas for you. How's that? And some of them don't cost a whole lot of money. And you know what I mean? It's like it's like the answer to my CPAC question. Have I considered hearing aids? I actually have hearing aids, Beth. Let me tell you where hearing aids are a problem. Hearing aids are a problem because they make everything louder, but they don't necessarily make it easier to hear. Wonder if that makes any sense. The other thing is, if you go into a restaurant and you're talking to somebody and you've got hearing aids, which I do, if I turn it up, not only do I increase the volume of the person sitting opposite me, I also increase the volume of everything else that's going on around. Does that make sense, Beth? So sometimes not wearing them is the best way to hear people. Okay, Pat, switching computers. So yes, I have thought about it. I also, yeah, and you don't know that until you start, going into it. The other thing was, I don't know what the cost of hearing aids is in the States, but over here, to get the really good ones is about $4,000 per hearing aid. And what I did is I went online and I researched to try and get some directly, and I managed to pick them up for quite a bit less, like $100 or something, and they're pretty good ones too. All right, so you need to have a corneal transplant. All right, so it's not a treatment that I'm thinking of, Nyasha. It's like, all right, so will it continue to get worse? Is that what you're saying? Because the next thing that I would think about, Nyasha, is starting to get books, audio books. Yeah, you have to remind him that he's talking very loud, right? That makes perfect sense to me. Yeah. Because he has to talk loud enough so he can hear himself talk. I have a major problem when I wear my headphones, because let me tell you what the difference is. If I don't wear my headphones, I have to turn my computer up to almost full volume. If I'm wearing my headphones, I need to have it up about this much. So sometimes I have it up full volume, And I plug in the earphones and I nearly blast my hearing. Your phone doesn't have a magnifier. Mine does. Did you know you can change the type on your phone? And I need to know, do you have an Android or do you have an iPhone? Okay. Yes, and I have an Android. So, but basically, did you know that, Nyasha, that you can change the size of the type on your phone? Because if you didn't know that, then we're going to be able to help you with that, which gives us great pleasure, because that's who we are. And I will stop dropping my tablet any minute now. Mine just doesn't stand up well. All right. It's an Android. Okay, so do you want to see how to do it? I've got my tablet here, but it's the same idea. Would you like me to show you? I've got to remember myself, but I can show you roughly. Let me know if you'd like me to show you. Oh, do we like the Halloween light? All right, in the meantime, while I'm waiting for that reply. All right, so don't ever give up. That was the other thing. It doesn't matter what you're struggling with. Don't ever give up. Doesn't matter what goes wrong, what doesn't go the way you thought it should. Don't give up. Just keep going. Okay, what's my next attempt? What am I going to do next? Yes, please. Okay, Nyasha, if this is your cell phone, do you know how to get to your settings? Now mine, whoops. This is difficult with my tablet because it changes all the time, but my settings is like a gear thing up in a corner. And if you touch that, all right, it gives you a settings page that looks something like this. All right. And then if somebody can do this faster than I can, this will be awesome. I think it's display that it comes under. Let me see here. That's brightness. Yep. If you go to display, all right, there is a category called display. And if you touch that, one of the options is screen, zoom, and font. Okay. See it almost there? All right. If you press that, if you press that, it asks, it's got a little bar here that you can change the size of your font. And you can actually tell it whether you want it to be, hang on a second. Let me get that up again. It allows you to zoom your screen, and it also allows you, I have my setting quite about 3/4 up. You probably would want yours all the way up. All right, so Beth is saying they have tutorials for Androids to increase the font size on YouTube. That's awesome. So you get the idea, though. I just intellectually, do you understand what I'm saying? So you go to settings, go to display. Once you get there, it'll allow you to have a screen zoom. And you can move that up so that it makes that screen zoom bigger. And you can also change the font size. And it also allows you to choose the font that is easiest for you to read. Okay. So that was a quick tutorial, but there's more available on YouTube. Yes, you can definitely do the same thing on your laptop or on your PC. Yep. And so you just change your font sizes. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Right, so let's get back to things that brighten up your day. It's a pleasure. That's what we do here. We try to find solutions for people to make their lives easier. All right, so we've got never give up. And now you always have a choice. All right, do we all agree on that one? We always have a choice. We have a choice whether to stay and be miserable. We have a choice whether we want to share ourselves up. We have a choice. Now, we can say, well, Jody doesn't have a choice with what's happening to her body, but she, there are things we can control. I'm pretty sure that some of you know the Serenity Prayer, which teaches us, help us to understand there's certain things that we can control, that's ourselves, and there's certain things outside of our control. And so our job is to control the things we can. And we have choices how we do that. Now, this is an interesting one, and it says, stop chasing the things that are not working. All right. How many of you have done this? You've chased after a relationship that isn't working, where you end up doing all the chasing and somebody else doesn't. Or you keep trying to make friends with somebody who doesn't want to be your friend. Or whatever it is. Don't do that to yourself. Yes, Beth says, I love it when I get customers who are in a bad mood. It's my goal to make them smile before they leave the store. They feel good, and I feel good for brightening their day. Did I hear you got a large promotion, or not a promotion, salary increase or something, Beth? Congratulations if you did. I know you became a manager, but money came with it as well. We like that. Yeah, that's awesome. I'm very happy for you. So now you're not only doing that, but you're also your business on the other side is growing. By the way, are you still happy you took the job, Beth? Because I keep thinking about that person in your life who said, it's a loser job. It doesn't sound like it's a loser job for you. Sounds like you're having a lot of fun. And also, you're learning a lot about yourself, which is why it's in your life right now. So the next thing to brighten up your day, they recommend, wow, that's awesome, Beth. She's saying that the store manager is going to be on mat leave soon, and they've asked her to be this acting store manager. Wow, that's awesome. I don't understand that question, Nana. Beth, what is the cost for Sal being a broadcaster? How would Beth know that? I am confused. How would Beth know? Help me, Nana, so I can understand. Who was asking? That wasn't Beth, Nana. Okay, it was actually Jody who put that up. And what she said is, if you find value in the broadcast, please help me, right? With a donation. Do you want to know what the total cost is? Yeah. You probably don't want to hear it. It's more than most people understand. No, it's okay because it's things like the cost of the website, the cost of all the other stuff that goes around it. What we're saying is, if you find value in what is done, any contribution would be gratefully received, and that's just the little dollar sign at the bottom here. I would think, quite honestly, Nana, I haven't seen the figures. I'll have to check with Yvonne. I think it cost me at least, I would think, about $500 a year at least. And I'm now retired, so that is money that I can't earn the same way. I would think 500 would be very minimal. If you keep adding all the bits up and the cost of the bits that make it happen. You know something, Beth? It gives me life. Yes. So Erin's saying we don't have choice all the time about what is happening to us, but we do have a choice about how we react to it. Exactly. And so that brings us to the next point, Erin, which is, and you will understand this big time, don't resist change. Yeah, I see the question now. I was confused as to why you were asking Beth, and it was just like, right, how would Beth know? He was like, really? Does Beth know something I don't? So the reality is that wherever possible, how many of you know that all the changes that are going on in my life now are huge for somebody who likes to have her ducks in a row and things in order, and I like to have control of my life, and suddenly, no, it's okay, Nana, I understand what happened now. It was just like, why would she be asking Beth? And it just confused me. So with all that's changing around me, the good news is, as I said at lunchtime, I'll be able to give you a tour of my house in a minute now, because it's getting really quite tidy. The only thing is, and the stuff is gone. You know what I mean? You're going, I don't have there aren't any knickknacks out. There aren't any major memory things out. It's all gone. And so as I look through it's beginning to echo. For the first time in a lifetime, I know for some of you this is your everyday thing, but my countertops are clear, except for one or two pieces along the way, which I never do. I have my, I think there are two sorts of people in the world: those that have clear countertops and the people like Sal. How many of you have all your countertops perfectly clear? Well, except for a few important things. And how many of you consider your countertops as major storage areas? Which are you? Right? I know which Jody is. It's okay. She and I have discussed this. Yeah, Nana said. Actually, Nana, I disagree. I've been to your house. I think you have amazingly uncluttered countertops. Yes, Jody calls it open storage. In view storage, right? I totally agree with you. But I'm now I'm putting everything away. I'm really working so hard. You do a good job, Nana. I've been to your kitchen. Believe you me. You do a really good job. But I'm really proud of myself. I'm just wondering whether to unplug my computer and show you, but I'm scared of disconnecting the wrong thing today. But you will get a tour. See, the other thing, other than, if you want to brighten up your life, all right, don't resist change. Change is happening to us all. So I know that the change is coming and it's going to be huge. I know that however much I've downsized, I probably am going to have to downsize by another 2/3. And does it scare me? You bet. So, to me, it's like, this is huge, very difficult for me to do, but I'm doing it, and I'm doing it in my own time, but I'm doing it. How many of you know that to brighten up your life, you need to be able to forgive yourself? Forgive yourself for what you didn't do today. Um, I really am learning to do the best I can, because some days I find I do a mammoth amount for me. Other days I find I can do very little. And it's really strange how that happens. Are any of you more productive on certain days of the week? Yeah, Nana, I agree with you. Nana says, I hate change, but I deal with it. Yeah. So I forgive myself for my bad days, and I'm really doing a good job of pacing myself. And I go, okay, fine, you need to get up and do something, and then I'm allowed to rest. I keep an eye now on my blood pressure, or my heart rate, and how do you drop something that's bothering you? Depending on what it is, Nana, I think talking about it or talking to the person about it probably is a good idea. But, do that sort of one-on-one if you can. Um, so is it something, about a person, or is it something about somebody's action, or is it bothering you in terms of a health thing? Or if you can just give me a few more clues on that one, it might be easier to discuss. There's certain things I don't think you. Oh, so it's a family member causing drama. All right, this is for the people who might be watching it on the replay. Yeah. Well, that's what Linda said today, Nana, and I thought it was great. All right, which is, if it gets too dramatic, just literally call it for what it is and say, something, this is way too dramatic for me today. So I'm going to need to just leave this with you for now. Well, Nyasha, that is a judgment you just made on yourself. I'm going to read what Nyasha wrote because it's important, because a lot of people have been saying things like this today. Seems like all the things you've mentioned in making life better are all opposite for me. I'm a mess. Well, you know something, Nyasha, you're not alone. None of us here are good at these things. What we're saying is, if you want to make your life happier, start working on some of these things. All right. I'm not suggesting you need to be perfect at any of them. Just start working on at least one of them. What were you trying to say when you were discussing kindergarten? Because if he said, what are you driving at? He probably thinks there's a hidden agenda there somewhere. Wait a minute. That's a very complicated sentence. You said, but I need to not ask. It's not important. Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought you said I need to ask. Yeah. So yeah, it's so that's interesting. You wanted to find out how it's going. Yeah. So I think sometimes what happens to you, Nana, is you ask a question. That is my experience of it. You ask a question that to you is just a simple question, and somehow in how it's worded sometimes makes it much more complicated. And I've fallen into that trap as well. And I've said a number of times, I have to remember that this is Nana, and sometimes what she says isn't necessarily what she means. I need to read into this a bit more or get a bit more information. So thank you. All right. All right. She's homeschooled, and you're saying it's none of your business. Right. It's their business. But what it sounds to me like, Nana, from the little that you said there, is that he feels you're going to make a judgment. All right. And that's why, what are you getting at here? He thinks there's a judgment coming up. And the answer is, hey, honey, I'm sorry if it sounded like that. Yeah, if you ask the child, right? And you just if but he must have said it to you for you to be talking about it. So the answer is, hey, I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry. I asked because I was genuinely interested in what she's doing. And but you asked about kindergarten, and she's not going to kindergarten, she's homeschooled. So why would you ask about kindergarten? Hi, Jonas. You're going through a lot today, as well as a lot of people. Yeah. So, but I think you're right. We have to remember that it's their children. How they school their children is their business, not ours. Even though you're a grandparent, I know that I was really, really keen. I was really keen um, for Juliana to go to Montessori because I think she's so talented in so many ways. And then I realized it's none of my business. And so I mentioned it a couple of times and I went, Sal, you need to shut up now. Jonas, do you want to give us a few more words about how we can support you right now? Yeah, but what I'm saying, Nana, is from what you said, he must have anticipated that there was a judgment coming. Yeah. Okay, so you had a huge fight. You're not the first one of the viewers to tell me about a fight today, just so you know. I'm trying to warn people is with changing seasons, when we change seasons, a lot of emotions get stirred up as well. So you feel so alone because you're not sure if you're going to be friends anymore. Well, I want to tell you something, Jonas. That means that you don't believe that you are somebody that can make new friends. Would that be true? And I want to tell you, the sign of a really good friendship is that you can have an out and out argument and still be friends. You can have different ideas. It doesn't change the friendship. All right. I've got friends that I can totally disagree with, and it feels very uncomfortable for a few days. But as long as we both just agree to disagree, can you agree to disagree on whatever it was, and just go, hey, I don't agree with you on that. You betrayed each other's trust. You both were guilty. Wow. Then maybe you both need to apologize. But it would take two people to keep that friendship together, not one. So you're only responsible for your side of it. All right. You're only responsible for your side of this. So my recommendation, if you want some options, is maybe write and say, I'm really sorry that I hurt you. It was not my intent. I see what I did and I'm not very proud of it. If that's true, put whatever is your truth and say, you've been a really good friend for a long time. And if ever you would like to get back together, let me know. Yes, Nana, I agree with you, right? You can learn so much from a disagreement. And also, wow. Okay, so that's the difference, Jonas. That's interesting. Listen to this. He says, it's really complicated. I want to take a break. But she says, friends to me don't take breaks. Well, that's her definition of a friend, right? They don't take breaks. They sit through thick and thin. Let me tell you something. I have a very dear friend that lives in my house. She's my tenant. And she has this thing where, an argument must be fixed right now. And I won't do that. I won't. If I start getting triggered and angry, I won't continue the conversation until the emotion has gone out of it and I can talk about it rationally. And she used to drive her insane and she'd be screaming at me, but we have to fix it now. And I'm going, no, we don't. You have to fix it now. That's your training. I don't have to fix it now. I would much rather wait until I'm calmer and then I won't say things I may live to regret. And so, Jonas, one of the things is that she's right from where she stands. All right. For her, by the way, is that a manipulation? I want you to think about this. Is it a manipulation for somebody to say to you, friends to me don't take breaks, right? She's not accepting you as you are or trusting that you still are a friend. She's saying, this is what it has to look like for me. Yeah, Nana, I agree with you to some degree, right? Which is, if you listen and don't defend your point of view. I think, however, I'm laughing inside on this one. Yeah, if you don't defend your point of view, so are you saying that don't give your side of the story? Because I think where I learn a great deal is when people tell me their side of the story. When they go, well, yeah, that's how you heard it, but this is really what my intent was. So to me, and it's really important to go, wait a minute, that's what you saw, but that isn't what I meant. I find while they're talking, yes, okay. So while they're talking, just keep quiet. And then the other thing that's a really good thing to do is go, and is there more to that? If you ask that question, it's also good. Yeah, Jonas, sometimes that happens in life, right? We lose some people that we think we're going to be friends for a long time. So I would just be responsible for your side of it. Let her know that you're really sorry. Let her know you're still a friend if she wants one. And you understand her point of view, but it doesn't change your point of view. All right, so you gave your side of the story and you told her why you felt hurt, and then she basically said, accept it. Well, that's okay. So that's very controlling, and boy, we've all done it in our own way. Yeah, I take whatever break you need. It's what I'm trying to say is she cannot control what you need to do. If you need to take a break to calm down and stop the drama, take it. She doesn't get to control that. You do. Let me find out what other people think about this. But I am a great believer. Do what you need to do so you can get rid of the drama of it. And to me, this is like, if this is constantly drama, that was one of the things we said earlier. Get around people who see the best in you, not people that see the worst. So I do believe, Jonas, and I believe from the bottom of my heart that if you are meant to be friends, this will not spoil the friendship. It may be a blip. Yeah. Well, you can't control her, Jonas. You can only control yourself. So you listen to what you said. I want to work through it together, but I feel like we won't be able to forgive each other entirely. You can't feel for what she's going to do, right? You can only talk about your side. All right? Yes, and give her time. Just let her know. I still would like to be a friend. If you choose not to do that, that's fine. Um, well, Nyasha, I understand your point of view. And for those of you on the replay, Nyasha saying, wow, that sounds really harsh. And I wouldn't be with somebody like that. To me, she is not sympathetic. Well, sometimes when we're really upset, we're not very sympathetic. Yes, and good for you, Jonas. Well done. I'm very proud of you for that. Jonas is saying, and she's right in a lot of ways as well. Yeah. So sometimes, you have to see both sides of the story. And she's helped you a lot, and that's what I would write to her and say, I really value your friendship. You've helped me a great deal. I've loved having you as a friend. Hi, Skittles. I'm failing in 2 classes in university. Any advice? Are you serious about that? And what I'm saying is, are you serious about that? Because some people, sadly, yeah. Okay. So I didn't mean that. I just wanted to check whether you're just trolling or whether this is a real issue. First of all, when do you have to get the grades by? And do you have enough room left to be able to up the grades? Okay, so you've got until Christmas. Here's my question: what happens if you fail those 2 classes? Can you catch up in winter school, or you know what I mean? Like do extra to make up those 2 subjects? All right. So I'd look at the positives. First of all, can you get some help in those 2 subjects? Because I'd be getting it in a hurry. Maybe the way that you're being taught isn't making sense to you. The other thing is, are you doing enough? Are you doing enough studying to make these possible? And I say that because, you know, 2 things normally happen. If we're not getting it, either we're not spending enough time studying it, or the way it's being taught isn't making enough sense. And we all learn differently, Skittles. You are aware of that, right? We all have different ways of learning. And so, to my mind, I took wanted to get a particular thing done once, and I really struggled. It was way out of my learning curve, and I actually had people drive with me to work every day and test me on it. I literally gave people free rides, if they would asked me questions all the way while we were driving into town each day. I did all sorts of things to help myself. I recorded things and then played it to myself. All right, so you go to tutoring and to study sessions. All right, you're saying, but I don't want to drop your GPA. Well, you may drop your GPA. Is there any way to pick it up again? Is my question. Right. So I'm actually not as stupid as I look, Skittles, but it really did. It helped me a lot. And what I would do is find somebody who's really good at that subject, but not too nerdy. You know what I mean? Somebody who speaks your language. And I say not too nerdy because you can talk to somebody who's really good on that subject and it won't help you at all. But if you get somebody who thinks like you do to help you with it, maybe you're more of a visual learner than or more of an audio learner or whatever. And find somebody who's good at it and say, I'm really struggling with this part. How do I smarten this up in a hurry? And they probably will give you some ideas about what they do. I want to tell you something, Skittles, because it's important. That I once took a child who was failing and failing badly, and within 1 semester got them to an A minus. And it wasn't that I was that good. I just found out how they learned, and I gave stuff to them in pictures. They were a visual learner, and I literally drew pictures of what it was they needed to learn on every subject. This, are you a visual or are you how do you learn best? You see, that's what I need to know is how, when you learned the computer, did you learn better by just, yeah, you're a visual learner. Okay, that's what I would recommend. Okay. What subjects are you struggling with? And Jonas, I'm also reading what you're saying. So trying to work the two of those together is hard work. Hold on a second. I told how much our friendship means to me. Jonas, you've told her how much the friendship means. You don't have to keep you don't have to keep doing it. All right. The rest is up to her. All right. And just remind her every now and then, I'm here for you. And I want you to know that. And I probably will be here for you for the rest of your life. It's up to you whether you can accept me as I am. I will do my best to accept you as you are, but we will always have differences. We're human beings. Hi, Ange. Good to see you. We're just struggling with a lot of balls in the air at the moment, Ange, but really great to see you. How's the new house going? All right, so Skittles, let me have a look at this. So you're saying human anatomy, physiology, and math. Those are three very different subjects to learn. Which one are you scared of actually failing? Why would you judge yourself that harshly, Jonas? Okay, so human anatomy. All right, so, the interesting thing, human anatomy actually is the most visual of those subjects. And that's the interesting thing. So is it the long words? What is it about human anatomy that is a problem for you? Because you've probably got somebody in your class that speaks your language. And literally, if you could take that person aside and say, I wonder whether you could help me. Most people love to help other people, Skittles, and just say, I'm trying to understand this better. And for some reason, you need somebody else who's a visual, who can put it in visuals. There's so much to retain and such a small amount of time. Exactly. So therefore, she was in here, Angela, but she left. Can we help in any way, Ange? Hi, Rosie. Yeah. So, well, she left, right? I'm glad to hear you're doing great, Ange. You've lost a lot of weight, honey. I'm so proud of you. I'm very, very proud of you. And considering that you work in sweets now and candies, that's even more amazing. I'd be useless. Yeah, thanks, Beth, for the input. So let's think about this. Rosie, I would literally find somebody who is a visual that can talk your language, and just let them draw it out for you and how they learn it. You want to know how have they managed to retain it. I literally, how did you learn your 2 times table, Rosie? You repeated it time and time and time again. I literally would write those fancy words onto cards, all those long words, whatever, and go, do I know what this is or where it is? And then on the back have the answer. And literally keep going through this. Take half a day and do that for yourself. And then literally do those cards. Jonas, grieving is a very sad thing. All right, that's what's happening to you. You're grieving, and I'd like to suggest that it's okay to cry. It's okay to be sad, right? And And do you have family there, Jonas, or are you on your own? No, but Rosie, does it make sense to you that these are difficult words to learn? And that's when I was doing it, Rosie, I was trying to learn about first year university type math, and I wasn't that person. You know what I mean? And it was just the same for me. It didn't make any sense to me because it was way out of my league. But you know what I did? I kept doing things like that. I'd put it on tape. I'd play it to myself. I would have people test me all the time, and eventually I got enough to pass. I didn't pass with flying colors, but I passed. Okay, so Jonas, keep talking to your friends here. And Jonas, if you want to write to me, you know how to do it. Ange, in terms of your question, how on my house, I don't know if you know, I'm not going to get a house. I've made a decision to downsize to a big fifth wheel. I'm going to reduce my carbon footprint and see if I can live. I've found a fifth wheel with an addition on it, and so I'm going to move from my 2,400 square feet down to 500. And I'm going there tomorrow, and everything in my body says I need to do this, so that's what I'm going to do. I will put away enough money so if I change my mind after a year, that I can do that. I want to tell you something, Jonas. Just write it because it's good for you to write it. Whether you send it to me doesn't really matter. By the way, Angela, I really admire the fact that you got yourself property. To get property at your age is really, really smart, because by the time you're my age, you're going to have a lot of money. So do whatever you need to do to hang on to your property. Jonas, let me read you the next thing and think about this. You are not broken or damaged. You are perfect just the way you are. Jonas, you need to hear this. Not everybody will think that, and that's okay. All right? Not everybody will think that. It's all right. And by the way, as you grow, you will keep changing your friends. Well, when you know that you're enough, that's when it will change. Angela, it is so scary. Hi, Becca. Good to see you. How are you doing? You know something, Ange? It is so scary. No, I'm gonna, listen to my thinking. The trailer I already have is 26 foot by 7 feet. That's quite a big storage unit. That's the way I'm looking. So I'm going to actually put all my seasonal stuff into that trailer, Ange. And it will only cost me $50 a month to house my trailer at the place where I'm going, as opposed to $250. You like my thinking? It's like, what does Niasha say? She says, Sal, based on your advice, I'm trying to help myself from being an enabler. Yes, there's find a book. Hang on a second. What's that book called? Okay, when you write to me, ask me for the name of the book about enabling. It's a really good book. I will, when I think of it. What on earth is it called? Marion Beatty. I'll think of it any minute now. Hang on a second. Let me just look. I'm just trying to find. Maybe it's not Marianne. Hang on. Books by Melody Beatty. That's it. Okay. All right, here we go. I'm going to tell you the name of it in a second. Ah, there you go. That's the one. This is the book that I read, and it changed the way I saw a lot of things. Just hold on. I'm just trying to copy it. Now, I'm not perfect even to this day, and you all know that, but here is a really good book for any of you who have these issues. Yeah, that's it. Thanks, Beth. You knew what I was trying to get at. It's a book called Codependent No More. All right. Now, what did Becca say? You have news, well, kind of, and then she doesn't tell us what it is. Okay. So the usual Becca thing throws out the bait and then waits for. Right. Let us know when you want to, Becca. All right. So now what else have we got? Okay. So Jonas, that is not that is you feeling really, be careful if you're feeling like that you want to hide away from everybody, then you need to really be talking to somebody. All right? If you going into hiding isn't going to fix the problem, all right? You need to talk this out. Yeah, I understand. But I'd get to speak to your doctor or somebody about it and see if you can talk this out, or a counselor. Do you have a counselor at school, Jonas? Yeah, you're right. It's not okay, and you're not in a good situation. That's why you need some help. Do I have both? You don't go to school, right? You're working. All right. Sorry, I thought maybe you were still at university. So, so do you have a family doctor you can talk to? Because I would recommend that you try and get some counseling of some sort with this. It's really important. If you can't talk to your parents, then find somebody you can talk to. Yeah. You can also get free audio books from libraries, and you may want to check that out, Nyasha, that your local library, even where you live, might have free audiobooks. Does he feel the same way, Becca? Okay, so Jonas, you've been assigned. Okay, so I'd find somebody else to go with you. All right, so find somebody else that will go with you to the therapist if necessary. By the way, why do you not want to go on your own? Why are you scared to go to a therapist? Their job is to help you. I can understand why that would be scary if she always went with you. All right, so Becca, the question is, does he feel the same way? And if so, then you'll be able to build a bit more of a friendship, and maybe build it into something else. But I'm very happy for you. Are you happy? Try not to marry this guy before you find out whether he feels the same or not. Do you know what I mean? Because Becca, I just want to tell you from my experience, I found out. I'm going to tell you in a second, and I'm sorry, I'm trying to keep too many balls in the air here. Um, But Becca, I used to think that when they asked me these things, when I got these feelings, I always presumed they felt the same way, and then I found out they didn't feel the same way about me. Right. All right. So, Ange, I believe at the end of March is the date. Yes, I think um, I do believe, Jonas, that it it can make you feel more lonely, but that's why you're going to get to your therapist. That's the whole point of going. So, think about that. Do you have another friend, maybe not as close, but another friend that you trust to go with you? Yeah. Um, there are lots of challenges to it, Ange, I will tell you. I'm going to see it again tomorrow to sort out some other things, and I'll probably have a much better idea tomorrow. All right. So, Jonas, please, please, please get to a therapist. And you locking yourself up and not talking to anybody is actually going to probably do you more harm than good. So I think, really think about that. If you've got parents that will listen, go talk to your parents. Rosie, what time is it here? It is just coming up to 9 o'clock in the evening. All right. So how old are you, Jonas? Just remind me. Yeah, I agree with you, Beth. No, it's taking 6 cold medications, that's self-medicating, is can be very difficult. All right, and at 18, Jonas, do you want to get help or not? I mean, that is the question. Yeah. How far are you away from your local hospital? And the reason I say that maybe, you can even talk to somebody in your local hospital. Please do not lock yourself away. Yeah, and cold medication, if you read the instructions, I don't think you're meant to be taking 6 at a time. All right. And do you know what they've come up with in the last couple of months, Jonas? Because I have to tell you from my own experience, just because, yeah, Jonas, I tried a lifetime of different ways to give up smoking, right? And nothing worked, nothing worked, nothing worked. And then one day it did. All right. So yes, I would definitely phone a crisis hotline. Thank you for Rosie for that. Um, you definitely need to talk to somebody. And just because Zoloft didn't work, just because, just because the one therapist didn't work, maybe another one will. Self-medication is not the answer. No, I quite agree, Beth. And we both know that one because we've done it. And by the way, smoking doesn't fix it either, just so that you know. But the thing is this, I definitely would recommend that you get some help. And I can't force you to get help, but that's what I would recommend. And if you're too scared to get it, or you just, you still have parents, I hope. And I would definitely phone the crisis line. They have people who you can talk to, and hopefully will give you some help. Don't give up on yourself, Jonas. Thanks, Rosie. Jonas, well, I don't believe that myself. Quite honestly, I don't believe that, but I understand at 18 why you might feel that way. All right. And the thing is this, that, yeah, but he doesn't see that yet, Beth. All right. That these are choices we make. And if you lock yourself away, you will be lonely. All right. The way not to be lonely is to go out and meet new people. And, whoever this friend of yours is, it isn't the only friend you're ever going to make in your life. And so I need you just to know that and understand that you're just grieving. And I know it's heartbreaking. Right. But don't give up hope. It's the most important thing is to know that, that it's heartbreaking as it is. That you just have to go through the grieving of it, and just, eventually you will understand when you grow up a little. Some of us have been through this heartbreak, and I know how sad it is. I know how sad it is. And I know you're probably angry as well as sad. And that's okay. No, and it won't be the last one either, Jonas. If you're human, I want to tell you, there isn't a person in this room talking tonight that hasn't had the loss of a friend or somebody that they trusted that betrayed them or whatever. I'm pretty sure that nearly everybody in this room will be able to give you their story or stories. It's life. I've had people, yeah, I certainly have had people that I trusted betray me. I've had people that I thought that would be there for me for the rest of my life who left me. Yeah. And so the trick to this, Jonas, when you're ready, is to work on yourself. All right. Exactly what Beth is saying, and start working on yourself and become your own best friend. And then you will attract to you different people. Yes, Ange, I'm still in contact with Oz. I'm still in contact with Farmer. You know, Pat's still around. Who else do you want to know about? Because your past is different from somebody else's past. So who are the names that you're interested in, Ange? Yeah, like Angela. Good one, Becca. Yeah, exactly. The one that used to make us laugh so much, that one. Yeah, M has come in once or twice. I'm trying to think who else. We heard from somebody else that was way from the past, and I'm trying to remember who that was. Jamie is still here, if you remember Jamie in California. Yeah, Uh, as I said, I'm still in contact with Oz. Um, Adam, yes, Coco has been on. That's right. Adam came in. Who else from your time, Ange? I mean, we can come up with names. Yes, they good one, Jody. They actually are from Denmark. The Denmarkians have been back, as I call them. Jen. I haven't heard from her recently. Yes, Animete is one of the Denmarkians. That's good. Thank you, Becca. Yeah, Jonas is saying some people are just unlovable. I don't think so. I believe that everybody is lovable. They just have to find the right person. I live on my own, and I believe I'm very lovable. I don't believe that I'm not lovable because I live on my own. I also have bad days, but basically, yeah. How is Farmer? He Farmer got himself a wife. I'm not sure if he married her, but you know what I mean. The farmer got a wife, and he moved, and he seems to be very happy where he is. Yeah. So just keep asking the questions, and we'll get or it's I'm trying to think who else I heard from recently. Anyway, I need to go. It's past time. Oz is super. Yeah, he's still making me laugh. He's just gone back to Indonesia. I'm not sure how long he's going to be there this time. You heard that he had a heart attack, right? Okay, Jonas. So you did better when you were on Zoloft, and then you went out and made friends, and then they broke you. The Zoloft broke you, or the friends broke you? Because if the friends broke you, you haven't found the right friends yet. You found some friends, but not the right ones. So did you take down that number that you were given, Jonas, that Rosie gave you? And by the way, thank you so much, Rosie. I really appreciated the fact that you did that. Love you too, Ange. Because it's really good to have that number and phone them and talk to them. You can't call a crisis line. Can you tell me why? Listen, guys, I appreciate all this, but really, no, seriously. Okay, so can you do it from outside the house so they don't hear? And by the way, you don't have to talk very loudly. And thank you all for your kind thoughts here. I appreciate it. Yeah, Erin's still here. So Jonas, you don't have to speak loudly to speak to a helpline. They're used to people whispering to them. All right? Yeah, Oz had a heart attack when he was in Indonesia nearly a year ago. It was the most amazing thing. And they had to fly him back to Australia. Yeah, that is so true, Beth. Yeah. The key to healing is not hiding. The key to healing is talking about your sadness. The key to healing is to ask for help. It definitely isn't to hide yourself away. Believe you me, we've done it. We got people in this room who've done it, and we can tell you, and we're old, and we can tell you we've done it and it didn't help. What helped was getting the right help. And eventually, you know something, Jonas, I want to tell you something. Of all the hundreds of friends I've had in my life, very few. You know, some people are meant to come in for a reason, some come in for a season, and some will be there for a lifetime, but it may take you a lifetime to find that. And, you know, I wish we could tell you that a different way, but that is truth. And so, you know, thank you for coming in. I want to tell you something, Jonas. I really appreciate the fact that you came in and told us that you're feeling so alone. And did you get the number? I'm still trying to find out whether you did find the number. And if you did, you know, don't worry about your parents may hear you. Your parents probably need to know that you're feeling this way. Maybe they can help you. Maybe they can come with you to therapy. Well, we believe in you, Jonas. You know, we believe in you. We believe that you are going through something that all of us have been through. Okay, why can't you talk to your parents about it, honey? Just so I understand. Angela, you know how difficult it is to be helping Jonas and be thinking about Baker. Okay, so phone the helpline, Jonas. And don't worry about if your mother hears you, right? You're 18. You can make that call. When I say you can make that call, I mean this is exactly. That's why you need to talk to people who can. And by the way, you can phone that helpline as many times as you want. You know, there's not it's not a restriction on, well, you can only ever phone them once. You can phone them, yeah, as many times as you need to. You bet it's something to try. Exactly. But you know something, Jonas, let me tell you something on behalf of all mothers and fathers in the world. You are still their son. And whether it sounds like it or not, they probably would still want to do whatever they can to help you. And if you said to them, you know, I need somebody to come to therapy with me because I'm scared, um, please, can you come or find somebody in the family to come with me? Oh no, Jonas, I want to tell you something. So, and I need you to hear me really deeply, honey. The sort of things you're talking about, you know, going to sleep is not going to make you feel better in the morning. Getting some help is going to make you feel better. And it may be difficult to get the help. And from my experience, you know, it was very difficult to talk about some of these things. I had to learn how to talk about them. And I totally understand that you know, like, and I can remember one doctor saying to me at one time, you know, well, what you need to do is just go out and have a good walk and you'll feel a lot better. And, you know, I didn't. And I had the sense not to believe him. And I went to another doctor and I said, these are my symptoms. And this doctor is telling me to go and take a walk and I'll feel a lot better. And, when the second doctor heard all my symptoms, he said, you got a serious problem. I said, yeah, I know. So, sometimes you need somebody who's going to listen to your serious problem, Jonas, and you have one, honey. And it's okay. It doesn't make you a loser. It doesn't make you a bad person. It makes you somebody who is struggling with some overload on the emotional side. Makes sense. And I want to tell you, I totally understand. I've done it. Never give up on yourself. Yeah. And the interesting thing, Jonas, is there are going to be days when you come in here and you're going to hear somebody else say what you just said, and you will literally roll your eyes. Literally roll your eyes and go, I remember when I felt like that. And there isn't a person in this room that's been to therapy that doesn't know what you're talking about, how difficult it is. It takes courage to go, doesn't it, Jonas? Right? But I want to tell you something, that whenever I start getting into that zone that you're in, the first thing I do is I go and get more therapy if I need it. Right? I no longer see myself as a loser. I don't see that. I go, I am out of control and I need to get my control back and I need help. And I want to tell you something, that although I've now learned most of the time to do that by myself, and I have, I can remember when I had years of my life when I couldn't get it under control. And I knew that I needed help. And that just means that you feel more than a lot of people and you hurt a great deal. Becca knows about it. Becca's been hurt for how many months now? And it's like Becca's grieving. Becca knows what that pain is like. It's a very difficult time. So I'd like you to take a really deep breath and know that you are big enough and old enough to make that call to help yourself. And don't worry about phoning it twice in 24 hours or 3 times or as many times as you need to. That's what they have the people there for. Well, you know something, Jonas, I don't want to have to phone the police and ask them to trace you down on this one. But if you really are in that frame of mind, you do definitely need to get some help, honey. This is not the answer. All right. And the the answer is to know that you really are more than capable. I don't know a teenager. I don't know a teenager that anybody who's been a teenager who doesn't know what you're talking about. All right. I assure you, I did not fit in at school. I did not fit in a lot of situations. I was bullied. A lot of things happened. Good, Jonas. I'd be delighted if you would check in. All right. And, you know, just do what you can. Yeah. And I want to tell you something and I want you to hear me, Jonas, that what suicidal people don't understand is the pain they leave behind. That their families bear that pain for the rest of their lives. It's something that most people don't think about. It's hard. I know it's hard. But you know something? It gets better. It just takes a bit of time. Ask Becca. Becca knows all about this feeling. All right. I want to tell you that yeah, some of us know. I have somebody in my life whose daddy committed suicide, and those scars will never leave. Right. I have a very good friend whose brother committed suicide, and she bears that scar and will never, she will always bear that scar. So to me, this is like, it's not just about you, Jonas. You will learn how to cope with this, and you will learn how to make friends, and you'll find good ones. Yeah. Yes, it really is. It's heartbreaking stuff. Becca, it's not a brave thing to do. No, it is a very selfish thing to do because you leave so many people ruined for life. But, that's it. Becca, you know something? We're glad that you still understand it. It's brave to get help, yes. It's adult to get help as well. But, the thing is, Becca will tell you, she knows how difficult it is to get help. But Becca, may I ask you, has the help helped you? And you see, that is the thing. I think that sometimes you don't get the right person first time. Maybe you need to change your therapist. So getting the right person to help you is really important. So hang in there, Jonas, and do what you need to do to look after yourself and get the help you need. I know somewhere in somewhere deep inside, you know that is the adult way. Yeah, it's opened up some emotional doors, and they're not easy to open up, are they, Becca? But the good news is, keep doing that. Keep opening up those doors and talking to people that you can trust about them, because it's so important. I actually get to control whether the broadcast goes over time or not, Jonas. So, don't be sorry. That is my choice. Um, so everybody, I do want to give you all a big hug. And, this is like, each of us now is responsible for just picking up our own lives and doing what it takes to brighten up our days. Our days are not all easy. And the reason that we have Dear Mama Sal is so that people can come when they're not feeling at their best and be heard. And so my reality to you all is, understand that as these seasons change as well, the emotions change. That was the whole point of doing this broadcast. That you need to understand that people are a little tweaked at this time of the year. And so people will expect some people to be over emotional. And I don't mean Jonas is over emotional, but you understand, expect there to be some clashes going on in your life. Expect there to be life going in ups and downs, because that is what it's like. But funnily enough, it is the same thing as, if you look at all the research, the number of accidents there will be increased right now because of the change of season. It's like, when we have these changes of season, it affects us, whether we like it or not. And so make sure you've got people you can talk to. And if you haven't got people you can talk to a crisis line. And most of all, be here for one another and keep being honest and open as best you can. Jonas, it takes great courage to come in here and tell your truth. And I want to give you a big hug for that. Yeah, let's be here for one another in both good days and bad days. And Angela, you're quite right. I'm scared stupid about some of the things that are going on, but in my life. But I'm dealing with them one day at a time as best I can. And we'll see how that goes. All right, everybody. Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting one another. It is a great gift that you give each other. This is Dear Mama Sal saying, hang in there. Remember, be good to one another, but most of all, please, 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 look after yourself first. Look after yourself first. Don't worry about everybody else until you've got a bit more love to give to yourself, because you are so special. Whether you understand it or not, you really are so special. You are unique. God only made one of you. And if you don't hold that precious, please do what you need to do to learn how to do it. I know I am not a perfect person, but I do know there's only one of me, and I am very special in a lot of ways. That doesn't mean I am perfect. It just means that I have to accept myself as I am. And that doesn't make me a bad person. Yes, it is my job to take control of my life. And when I can't, I need help to do it. And I'm not ashamed about that. That is just reality. If I break my leg, I don't think twice about going to a doctor and getting help. If I, have something else happen to me, I go to get help. And so that is, unfortunately, we don't understand enough about the help we need when our brain isn't functioning properly. And that is so sad. Anybody who's grieving, it is very difficult. And some of us know it at a very deep level. So big hugs to you all. Look after one another, but do look after yourself. And Jonas, we trust you to make the right decisions and to get help. And, we will be here again on Sunday, and then just keep in touch and make sure that we, keep up to date to what's going on. Some days will be very difficult, and some hopefully will be a little easier. This is Dear Mama Sal saying thank you all, and bye-bye for now.